Good morning. I just wanted to make a little short talk about what it is that we do. Hey, you little troublemakers. Let me going over some pictures here. I know. Sit down. Come on. From this book. But I wanted to talk about Input Free Beekeeping today and what it is, what it means to me. I don't really like labels, but we have to label things something, right? So, little troublemakers. Input free beekeeping, in essence, is we're just trying to stay out of the way of our bees. We want to provide guidance for them, and we need to know what we want to do with them. So, I guess the best way to show you what input-free beekeeping is to show you pictures of how bees are kept all over the world. So often we look at our situation here in the United States and in other places where we have pretty standardized procedures on how to keep bees, but the reality is the way we keep bees here and in other places that use Langstroths like Australia, New Zealand, it's just it's a small percentage of how bees are kept all over the world. So this is a great book signed by Kirk Webster here. I spent some time working with Kirk years ago. These are the things that kind of embody input-free beekeeping. We know that honeybees can make it on their own. Many people know that there are feral hives that are thriving without treatments, without plastic foundation, without feeding of sugar syrup. So, in essence, what we're trying to do with the clients that we work with is just this, is to provide an environment, you little troublemakers, to provide an environment for the bees to do what they were created to do. That's it. So it's not that we're against people trying to do what they think is right, but what we're trying to do is amplify this. This is what input-free beekeeping is all about. Can we maximize the opportunity for our bees to thrive? We know that there are places in the world without bees because of the things that we've done. I don't know if you guys have seen the video More Than Honey, but it kind of shows how certain places of Asia are devoid of bees because of the chemicals that we have used to control other pests, and at the same time have taken out our own bees. We've lost over 60% of the national stock over the last year. Before then, the annual losses were anywhere between 10, 15 to 40%. So in those cases, I think it was pretty even 50-50, people who treated with chemicals and people who didn't. But I think last year's losses of over 60% really told us that it really doesn't matter whether you treat with chemicals or not. There's something beyond just that. So it really shouldn't matter which side of the fence you're on. You really just need to figure out what you want to do, how you manage your bees, what inputs you're willing to put in. This is a lady, they go around pollinating by hand. See this wand right here and their pollen? You guys should watch that documentary. I'll post it on the link here. if I can remember, but pretty much humans have to go around cutting blooms, and then they cut the pollen, dry it, and then take it to other places further north for then humans to pollinate. So this is what a world would look like without honeybees. If we keep going down the route we're going, where we try to do everything for them, this is what we're going to end up with. We're going to have to do their job. If we can't help them refigure out who they are, why they were created, then we're essentially micromanaging to the point where we're going to have to use humans or drones. This is what the bees do naturally here. They're able to provide and make their own food. This is called bee bread. It's made from pollen. And by us taking away the opportunity for them to make their own food, for them to use recipes from thousands of years ago from their ancestors, then we're essentially limiting what they can do. I'm not going to talk about migratory beekeeping right now. This video is really going to be about, can I show you some pictures of how beekeeping, what input-free beekeeping looks like. Input-free beekeeping looks like this, where these bees are not treated. They're not, where's the videos? Here they are cutting honey out of a tree up about 50, 60 feet. So input-free beekeeping, kind of like how we used to do here when bees first got here, was about what we could take from the bees without actually killing them off. What excess honey we could take from them, and wax. So that's one example of input-free beekeeping. Another example, you guys have probably seen the Nepalese people going off the cliff walls. This is actually in India. But here's another example of input-free beekeeping, to where the environment allows for these huge colonies. And there's varroa in these countries, but the bees are able to figure it out in hive numbers. And I know someone's going to say these are a different style of bees. They are a different subset of honeybees, but we can take some notes. Like if we're looking at how big these colonies are, maybe the colonies we're managing is not big enough. So this is what input-free beekeeping looks like. It looks like, well, some people would say a mess, but it's free from plastics, it's free from chemicals, free from artificial feeding. These people aren't feeding these bees on cliff walls. That is a heck of a bee suit there. Man, I don't think I could do that. I love me my bee suit. Colony there. So, and they're going at night. Look at that little colony there he's gonna get. So, input-free beekeeping is going to take different skill set than what is available, what is known. It's going to take more work on our part. We have to learn how to work with the bees. Some more examples of input-free beekeeping. No plastic. So we know that bees are able to do this. We know that they're able to, manage their own colonies, their combs. But this is the foundation, is we have to allow them to be bees. And we are working on our courses on our school platform. We will have courses for beginners. We'll have courses for people that are already beekeepers. I'm readily available on that platform to answer your questions. We have managed colonies in Layens and Langstroths, similar to top bar hives. So pretty much any question that you might have, I probably am familiar with what it is that you're trying to do. But input free beekeeping really is finding the right places where these bees can thrive, and then providing an adequate home for the environment, and then managing them for what we want. Do we want honey from them? Do we want pollination from them? Drinking some sort of mead. Romania. They have these amazing buses with bees. So to kind of sum everything up, I think input free beekeeping is very localized as far as maybe the equipment that you're going to use. But beyond that, you know, we didn't have plastic foundation 50 years ago. You know, skeps, you know, have been around and used for thousands of years, really, before movable frame hives. And some people are going back to them. They just require different management. But yeah, we're glad that you guys are here. The purpose of our channel is to show you that, you know, maybe we just need to realign our goals with bees to something that's more manageable. On the other side of this, perhaps maybe we can help convince you that maybe keeping bees in your backyard is not the best idea. I kind of joke around with people when I tell people that I want to save the pandas, but I can't have pandas in my backyard. Hey, come here. Come here. These are my 3 pandas here. You know, I don't have the habitat to sustain pandas in my backyard. And I got my woolly mammoth here. So perhaps this channel will help you as we go through identify that perhaps having a hive or 2 or 10 in your backyard in a cityscape is probably what's causing challenges for you that are going to require more inputs, that are going to work against the bees' nature. As you can see here, it's, you know, it's one thing to feed pollen patties, but it's another thing to provide an environment for these bees to take care of themselves. And who doesn't want to take care of themselves, right? Thank you very much for my rambling on. I'm glad you guys are here. We're going to try to post daily content on our Facebook, or Facebook. On Facebook, we're Napa Bees. On Instagram, we're Napa Bees. On the school platform, which you're just getting going, that's SKOOL. We're Napa Bees. And here on YouTube, we're Napa Bees. So we will work on posting as much bee content as possible. Thank you very much for watching.